The Contamination of Puerto Rico's Beaches by Eduardo Morciego, Victor Ujake, and me, Daniel Lacey. The Contamination of Puerto Rico's Beaches by Eduardo Morciego, Victor Ujake, and me, Daniel Lacey. A beach is a pebbly or sandy shore, especially by the ocean between high and low water marks. What comes to your mind when you hear the word beach? What comes to my mind is the warm temperature, cool water, and the smell of hamburgers cooking in the barbecue. What comes to your mind when you hear beach contamination? What comes to my mind is that beach contamination is a very serious problem that we need to deal with as soon as possible because it affects our environment and the other species that live in it. The people that don't worry on how the beach will end up at the end of the day is part of the problem of beach contamination because since the beach is a public place, they think that the government will take care of cleaning it because they only think that the beach is to go and have fun with family and friends. Have you ever been to a contaminated beach? Most of us go to beaches that we don't even know that they are contaminated because contamination is not only physical like with trash, it could be bacterial in the water. A beach that is frequently contaminated is Crash Boat in Aguadilla, especially during the summer, because during the summer, the EPA announces each week which beaches have high bacterial count in the water, and almost every week, Crash Boat is one of them. And it's not only contaminated in the water, but in the sand too, because people don't take care of the beach and throw their trash in the sand, and no one takes care of it after it. Sources of beach contamination. There are three types of contamination: physical, biological, and chemical contamination. Examples of physical contamination are trash and litter. According to SeaPuertoRico.com, this is the main problem in our beaches. An example of biological contamination is bacterial contamination. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, monitors the beach by doing microbiological testing each week. An example of chemical contamination is an oil spill. The last time an oil spill occurred in Puerto Rico was in January 7 of 1994 when a barge collided with a coral reef and released 750,000 gallons of oil. The purpose of this project aims to raise awareness about beach contamination by forcing the government to introduce a project in which beach waste programs should be enforced and be a public priority, so we can avoid our beaches being contaminated and we, the Puerto Ricans, and the tourists can enjoy them. Frequent beaches. The most visited beaches in Puerto Rico. According to ZPuertoRico.com, Puerto Rico is surrounded by hundreds of beautiful beaches. They also ranked the top 10 beaches in Puerto Rico. These are Hobos in Isabela, Gilligan Island in Guanica, Vega Baja Beach, Seven Seas in Fajardo, Crash Boat in Aguadilla, Sun Bay in Vieques, Boquerón in Cabo Rojo, Escabrón in San Juan, Luquillo Beach, and Flamenco Beach in Culebra, being Flamenco the best one. We thought that the best beaches were only at the west side of the island, but now we discovered that that wasn't true. Status of beaches on the west side of the island. All of these beaches are visited year-round, but some of them are not well managed on some months. Some beaches are protected by the Natural Resources Department. These beaches are called balnearios. In Aguada, Añasco, Rincón, and Cabo Rojo, you can find these balnearios where the government is in charge of the maintenance. But as you can see, there are only 4 beaches protected by this agency, when it should be protecting more beaches. The other beaches are maintained by the municipality government or just by a group of beachgoers. The environment of these beaches. By environment, we refer to the type of crowd which visits the beach. Some beaches are family orientated, good for water sports like surf or paddleboard, or youth motivated, and with this term we are referring to loud and crowded beaches. But the environment also depends on the day or season which you go to the beach. There are 2 types of seasons, the in season and out season. The in season is when the beaches are most visited. It starts in May and it ends at the beginning of August. If you go to Hobos in Isabela, Crash Boat in Aguadilla, Boquerón, Combate, or Playa Sucia in Cabo Rojo, or Lajas, you're going to find a young environment because all of the schools of Puerto Rico are on vacation and these beaches are preferred by young people. These beaches I just mentioned are probably going to be more contaminated at the end of this season because, according to SeaPuertoRico.com, beaches frequented by young crowd are more contaminated with trash left behind by this crowd. Also, there are more holidays in this season, which increases the number of beachgoers. So that's a main factor of why these months are part of the in season. The other season is the out season. This season is when the beaches are less visited because there's cool and the weather is a little bit cooler in the island. Also, some beaches get infested with jellyfish or algae. So in this season, the beaches won't have many visitors, which means that there will be less trash left behind. Associations. There are a few environmental friendly groups or associations that help out cleaning beaches and raising awareness of beach contamination. Scuba Dogs Society is one of the largest ones and is very active in the social media. They are most active in the National Day of Beach Cleaning. They are preparing year-round and orientated groups for each beach. Also, there are groups that focus more on protecting the beaches from urban development. Amigos del Mar are concentrated on protecting the beaches in the metro area. Right now, they are protesting against the construction of a hotel in Isla Verde. Also, there's a new group called Movimiento Playuela, which is protesting against the construction of a tourist complex in Aguadilla. Contamination. Contamination is the introduction of substances to a medium and caused they will be insecure to use it. The medium can be physical, an ecosystem, or a living being. It is always a negative alteration of the natural state of the medium, and it is constantly a consequence of human activity, considering itself as a form on environmental impact. Types of contamination. There's water, air, soil, thermal, radioactive, acoustic, and light contamination found near our beaches. According to different sources, the most contaminated beaches in Puerto Rico are El Muelle in Arecibo, Puerto Nuevo in Vega Baja, Cerro Gordo in Vega Alta, Sardinera in Dorado, Ocean Park in San Juan, El Alambique in Carolina, el Balneario de Luquillo, Tropical Beach in Naguabo, Balneario de Patillas, Playa Santa in Guanica, and Playa Bulle in Cabo Rojo. And this is because the high bacterial count in the water. According to the EPA, the coast zones that present frequent contamination are the northwest zone of the island and the east zone. Factors that precede contamination. These are chemical, physical, and biological factors. Examples of biological factors are feces, waste of factories, paper, sawdust of forest industry, and drainage into the water. Examples of physical factors are heat, sound, and mechanical effects on these beaches. Chemical factors are toxic products, acids, organic solvents, detergents, plastics, and other type of trash. Affected species by contamination. The two common animals affected by contamination are sea turtles and fishes. A contaminant that constantly affects these species and most of the time will likely kill them is plastic. These two animals always end up tangled in plastic and won't let them do their normal function, for instance swim or eat. Turtles make their nest in the sand, and when turtles are born, they move quickly to the water. But if there is garbage on the surroundings of their nest, they won't get to the water as quickly as they need and will most likely get stuck in them and die. That's why the Natural Resources Department make fences around these nests, and when the hatching season comes, they clean the area so they can assure that the baby turtles get to the water. The marine flora also gets affected because of contamination, by chemical contamination or physical contamination. An example of chemical contamination is the oil residue from boats. And an example of physical contamination is cans or plastic bags in a water. And this can affect the plant absorption sunlight, affecting the process of photosynthesis. An example of a marine flora affected by contamination is the Great Reef Barrier in Australia that just recently died. Possible solutions. As a group, we thought of a few solutions to prevent contamination. For example, better government regulations. The government has a huge role in preventing contamination because they can create laws to prevent them. Throughout the years, the government has made laws to control this problem. For example, the law number 9 called the Ley de Política Pública Ambiental, the law number 70 called la Ley para Reducción y Reciclaje de Desperdicios Sólidos en Puerto Rico, the law number 172 known as Ley para el Manejo Adecuado del Aceite en Puerto Rico, and a few other laws that help control this type of situation. These laws will prevent any contamination from the beginning. But the problem is that the government doesn't enforce these laws. Another solution could be more proper disposal of waste. A great solution to prevent contamination in these beaches is to put more places to throw away the garbage. This could be in charge of the municipality of these beaches or even the central government, because in these beaches you can put more recycling bins in. Also, the government can promote the public and private involvement of maintenance of these beaches. For example, the private companies can sponsor equipment or money to involve the public to clean beaches or raising awareness about beach contamination so the beachgoers can help out as well. Also, proper government agencies, for example the Natural Resources Department, should be keeping a better eye on companies that throw waste near beaches or for illegal waste dumps near beaches as well. The ideal solution chosen by this group is to involve more the public and the private sector. So we could create an organization that of volunteers that could clean up the beach at least once a month. But a better idea is that these volunteers could work every day at the beaches by cleaning them and watching the public or beachgoers so they don't throw garbage, and also raise awareness about using reusable bags instead of plastic bags. The source of this photo is La Junta de Calidad Ambiental. This map from 2014 shows us the different beaches in Puerto Rico. The ones marked with an orange diamond are those that failed the test for the water to be considered as safe to go in. The source of this photo is La Junta de Calidad Ambiental. This is the same map as the one in the previous slide, but from 2016. This one shows us that in 2 years there are 7 different new cities with beaches that failed the water quality test. It is important to have these two maps because we can see the difference in just 2 years. The source of this diagram is from the Natural Resources Department. In this diagram we can see the plan for a beach platform being made in Culebra. As you can see, it is very close to the water, and this could affect the ecosystems in the water or outside the water and soils in Culebra. This is an example on how the tourism plays a huge role in the contamination of these beaches. This diagram shows us the types of contamination. The two types of contamination are natural and anthropogenic. Under anthropogenic, we can find urban contamination or productive activity contamination. By productive activity contamination, it could be thanks to industrial, agriculture, or other industrialities. This chart was published by El Nuevo Dia, and it shows us the effect of the contamination caused by the Navy on Vieques beaches and its effects on the population. For example, when the Navy was in Vieques, the population was lower, the income per capita was also lower, and there were more people under the level of poverty. This graphic shows us the distribution of bacteria from fecal waste that resides on the water from some beaches in the northwest area of Puerto Rico. Garbage isn't the only type of contamination. Bacteria, fungi, and viruses also are a type of contamination. This photo was published in El Nuevo Dia. This photo was taken the day after the Night of San Juan, which is every June 23rd. The goal of this article on the newspaper is to raise awareness because on this day, the beaches of Puerto Rico receive a wide quantity of visitors. As you can see, this is a source of contamination. This year, a group of people, including myself, stayed after this night to clean a beach, which was the Domes Beach in Rincon, Puerto Rico. This photo was also published by El Nuevo Dia. It was taken in Crashboat Beach in Aguadilla after a long holiday weekend. As you can see, there's only 2 trash bins for the trash produced in this beach. As you can notice, this is not enough. And this is pretty common on this beach after any weekend. It doesn't have to be a holiday weekend. And the municipality government can take to at least 3 days to clean up all this garbage. We could affect the marine life, for instance, the sea turtles or pelicans that live on this beach. From this picture, we can see that the contamination from trash left behind in beaches doesn't only stay on the sand. It ends up in the water, which is worst because here nobody can see it and it affects the marine flora and fauna. In other words, even though we can clean up the sand area, nobody ever cleans up the water, and that raises the contamination. This photo is one of the elements we chose because although it is animated, it gives an example of the types of contamination we can find on the beach. The examples found in this photo are physical contamination, biological contamination, and chemical contamination. The example of physical contamination are those trash bags left on the sand. The examples of chemical contamination are those cans of chemical waste being spilled over the water and that sewage tube that ends up on top of the water. And how, that's the example of biological contamination, it killed those fishes in the water. Conclusion. Importance of this topic. This is a topic that every beachgoer should be concerned about because it only causes negative effects on not only our beaches but also our marine life. If people continue this rate of contamination, in the future there won't be enough space in our beaches or maybe there will be trash or waste in the water that won't let us enjoy it. Possible ideas for the future. A good topic for a next project could be the effect of global warming on our beaches. Also, another good idea is to do an investigation about the relation in the age of the beachgoer and the preference of the beach. Acquire knowledge from this project. From this project, we discovered the groups that protect the beaches and what are they fighting against. We didn't know about the construction of hotels or tourist complexes in Isla Verde and Aguadilla, and we neither knew about the National Day of Beach Cleaning. We would like to give thanks to associations that are protecting our beaches and for their sacrifice. Also, all the beachgoers who clean up the area where they sat in the beach, and Dr. Rios for assigning this project which led us to choosing this topic, creating awareness of this problem that we're facing.